This launch is very significant for Kenya, Kenya Space Agency and Kenya as a country, because it signifies an advancement in science, and to be specific, in space science. And to be able to put a satellite up in space means you've done a lot of planning. You've involved different sectors and professionals to be able to design a satellite and produce it, as you might see in the information on how the satellite was produced. And collaborating with the international actors who put the satellite on space. That means it affects a lot of fields in terms of research, science, technology, and international collaboration on space matters. This is very significant because it's just the beginning. There are a lot more launches that will come up after this that will enhance the capabilities of future satellites. And for the region, it means that for Eastern Africa, how satellites collect information is that they'll collect information at global level, national level, or in parts, so that they're able to collect more information than Kenya needs, or boundaries of Kenya. That means neighboring states or other African states can benefit from such data and information. That starts a new space collaboration in this region in terms of information and data sharing. And also it might see that in future we might have regional designed satellites or African designed satellites that will benefit more countries. So it's very significant in terms of space advancement for both the research and the data users. The concrete benefits that already have been proven are a lot in the line of agriculture monitoring, disaster monitoring, flood monitoring, which IGAD is really active in, and routes monitoring. By monitoring means you're able to look at the same point of time and compare with what you had in the past. And that way you're able to detect certain indicators that show you act as early warning information on important subject matter that you want to monitor and develop early warning information for. For example, you want to tell that a drought is developing well in advance. You want to tell that an extreme event like floods that have been in the increase in our region is developing, and you want to give information of where it is developing, the intensity of such activities, and give the decision maker lead time information such that they are able to act in time. So that's one very demonstrable evidence that Earth observation has had in the world. In the same way, there's a lot of applications in food security. For this region, we're just emerging from a drought where a big number of the region, for example, 5 million people in Somalia, needed some form of food security and support. Same case applies to Kenya and Ethiopia in different magnitudes. You want to be able to tell droughts developing even before they are able, they manifest on the ground. This shows that you've been able to monitor soil moistures, you've been able to monitor vegetation, and you can tell already the signs that there are signs that the indicators that it's developing not in the right trajectory. So that way you're able to develop lead information. Sometimes it's 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, and you're able to tell decision makers and planners what they need to do in advance. Kenya is now developing its national adaptation plan, updating it. There was one already developed. It's now updating the national adaptation plans to climate change. In doing so, Kenya needs evidence that certain indicators of climate change are, you need evidence to show that there are certain parameters that are changing in terms of temperatures. Rivers are reducing, lakes are increasing or reducing, whichever the drivers. And by such a satellite can be able to collect data that can be used to support the national adaptation plans and also mitigation activities. Where do you prioritize activities to mitigate the impacts of climate change? Where is it most affected by drought? Where is it most affected by floods? And having such a satellite in orbit and collecting information, you can be able to periodically monitor. You can be able to intersect it with future projections, and come up with hotspots and where first to prioritize mitigation measures. So that's how such a satellite can help in national adaptation plans to climate change.